Steve, is Bears-Packers the best rivalry in the entire NFL? And we have not seen both this teams playing at this level this late in the season since
centuries.
I mean, it's been forever. Remember, this is the team that Aaron Rodgers said he's part owner of the Chicago Bears. You know, he owns Soldier Field. And now they're going to play in Lambeau. They're going to have an opportunity to battle for the top of that division. You have the Bears, the number one seed in the NFC right now at 9-3. It's exactly what everybody predicted before this season started, right?
Oh, I know I did. Psych.
They've won 9 of their last 10, man. I think this last game, though, against the defending Super Bowl champs, it goes okay. That Black Friday game, they are for real. When you see these two, this is one that you were like, hey, JP, I want to talk about this one. Why did you want to talk about this game outside of just we know what the stakes are and we know how big this rivalry is?
One of the reasons, well, there's a multiple. Let me start over. I want to talk about this game because I've been extremely critical. I've broken down their defense, talk about how many yards they have given up, which is true. Earlier in the year, you know, just going down some weeks against, against Dallas, 396, against the Raiders, 350 yards allowed, Washington Commanders, 329, the Saints, 250, 511. That's week 2. So it's not as if I'm imagining and I'm just being a hater. I just can count a little bit. And as I'm counting, I'm going, man, if you're giving up 511 yards the second week of the season, man, I get a little nervous, right? You give up 495 yards, you get a little nervous. However, what's been outstanding is the last couple of weeks, 265, 317 against the Eagles, 365 against the Eagles, and then 345 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's just been one of those things where I have to eat some humble pie. And I'm willing to do that.
It's holiday season.
But it's also has to do with, it's not like I was just sitting around looking for something to nitpick. The problem we have when we evaluate football, and I say we, me, an analyst, podcaster, you the fan. When your team isn't playing well and another team that is surprising you, you start to go, they're pretty good, but they're giving up too many yards defensively. They're pretty good, but they're not succinct and consistent with throwing the ball on time. And just that's what we do in football. We see the really good teams and we try to pick apart and figure out how can they get beat, because at some point they will get beat. At some point they will hit a skid through the regular season that makes people panic. We want to talk about so much about the Philadelphia Eagles and what the Chicago Bears were able to do to them, which results into people calling the Philadelphia Eagles a team that's in trouble. A team
They're egging the offensive coordinator's house, Steve.
Yes. They egged his house?
They egged his house.
Wow, that sucks.
Oh, you know who's on the case, though? Big Dom's on the case, so these guys.
Oh, Big Dom's on the case. Then that means he's going to get to the bottom of it, right? But I just know that's what people do. And I was just with everyone else going, at some point, guess what, people? That some point hasn't come yet. Yeah. They're on the top of the division. They are record-wise. And the way they're performing right now, they're the best team in the NFC.
Number one seed right now, Steve.
Number one seed.
And you're right, because a lot of the way these games have gone down, and I love the way we always twist things to shape the narrative like you're saying. It's the Bears winning these insane games at the end of the game. It's going, oh, man, that's lucky. That's lucky. That's lucky. Patrick Mahomes wins crazy games at the end of the game. Oh, man, look at how the Chiefs find ways to win. Like, we skew the narrative all the time. I'm not saying the Bears, Caleb Williams is Patrick Mahomes, or the Bears are the Chiefs of what we've seen over the last several years, but you do have to respect they have won the games. That's all you have to do. They have found a way to win games.
Finding.
Exactly. Defensively. Giving up yards, you have to remember, too, like, Dennis Allen takes over for Matt Eberflus. every DC, and maybe people at home don't know this, Steve, and you can describe it to them, like defensive coordinator, offense coordinator. Well, I like this type of personnel. I use this type of front. I use my linebackers like this. Yes. And the previous roster in the group was built for the previous defensive coordinator. They use their linebackers in coverage differently. They use different fronts. And Dennis Allen's adjusting, and it takes some time to figure out how you can do it before you get your players in. What's really helped them, they are plus 17 in the turnover differential.
That's the part that part you can't.
That's huge.
That is huge, and that keeps you in the ball games. That gives you an opportunity that when you're giving up 495 yards, 431 yards, that still gives you a chance to win, because most teams that are giving up that much yardage are getting scored on a lot.
Exactly.
And that is the difference with the Chicago Bears, right, on the defensive side. Now, offensively, they're firing all cylinders. Right, Caleb Williams being in the pocket, throwing on time. We know what he likes to do, razzle dazzle. He likes to throw off schedule. But I love what Ben Johnson has been able to do as the season goes on. They seem to have narrowed their focus, where they give him an opportunity to ad-lib, but then also rein him in and say, hey, we need on-time throws, and here's why. And when they do that, it's remarkable because they have the best tandem right now in the NFL with these two running backs that are outstanding.
They are. They are so good. And the run scheme is so good. I want to touch on Caleb real quick, because I called around, asked around kind of what if people evaluated around the league think of Caleb Williams in year 2. What they have loved, Steve, and you mentioned this, that Ben Johnson hasn't relied on like college concepts. He hasn't relied on RPO stuff. He's teaching him, I'm told, to play quarterback. Yes. He's teaching him the right ways to play quarterback. You could think during this run where they're winning games and they're turning the football over as a defense to go, and they're running the ball well, like, let's make it easier on Caleb. He's not really doing that. He's having him run the play action game. Yep. He's putting him under center, which he was never under center at USC. Barely under center a season ago. He said, listen, we're going to put you under center. We're going to learn the play action game. That's a big part of what we do. It's going to make it easier for you eventually, but we got to go through these growing pains. And he is, but he's holding on to the football a little bit longer because, and that's the thing I wanted to mention, that's getting skewed. People are saying, well, Caleb's holding the ball too long. When you run play action under center, Steve, you do hold the ball longer. The play takes longer, right? But you're also holding the
developing play.
Exactly, but you're also holding the defense in a different manner, so that helps him out. Now, the completion stuff has been an issue. He's at 58% for the season. I mean, that's just not great. But what they have figured out is he's been better from the pocket. They've learned to kind of find a way to have him play on time, be in more control of the offense, understand the entire offense, the why, but also Ben has allowed him at times to go, no, you still got to make plays. You are a playmaker. You are an athlete. And finding that balance as this year's gone on has impressed a lot of people around the league, even though Caleb hasn't been perfect. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he was sacked 68 times last year. Mm-hmm. He's barely getting sacked this year at all. He's finding a way not to hurt the offense when they're running the ball the way they're running it. And they have the players around him. And you mentioned that run game. I mean, they went for 281 against Vic Fangio. I mean, against Vic Fangio. And there's some big guys in the middle of that defensive line for Philly. You talk about Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, great D tackles, getting moved off the ball. Like, I think it's been unbelievable. It is. And I think what they really did, and to me, this is, I think, team building 101. When they went and revamped the interior of the offensive line, and you get Joe Thuney in a trade who's been to like 1,000 Super Bowls. He's won multiple Super Bowls in New England, multiple Super Bowls in Kansas City. You know, and I talked to people in Kansas City. It was like, not just what he does on the field. He'd be like, he helps everybody out. You got a rookie left tackle right now. Like, you don't think Joe Thuney's valuable in that sense? And you get Dowman, Jonah Jackson. You rebuilt the interior of the line. That helps your quarterback too.
Yeah.
It's been...
Well, you talk about his completion percentage being less than 60%, in the 50 to 58% percentile area. And part of the reason that his completion percentage is that low has to do with he's a down the field thrower. He doesn't really take a lot of check downs. So he's looking for the explosive play. That's just his MO. That's his demeanor. That's how he likes to play. He's a splash player. Ben Johnson also knows that when you go back and look at Ben Johnson, the way he was the offensive coordinator and coaching for the Detroit Lions. Splash plays. They wanted to have splash plays. That's why they acquired Jamison Williams, right? That's why they have Tim Patrick, all these guys that they want to be able to go get the ball, whether it's go get the ball with speed or go get the ball with positioning yourself between you and the defender and these big body guys. Mm-hmm. Ben is doing the exact same. That's the same blueprint that he was doing with the Lions. He's doing now in Chicago. Rome, big body guy. Mm-hmm. Luther Burton now is the third. Luther Burton, the third, is now starting to get a lot more snaps. In the beginning of the season, he was only getting about 5 or 6 snaps in pass plays, 1 or 2 in run plays. Now, his workload is increasing as he gets more familiar, as they get more comfortable. Then all of a sudden they can start throwing in new people and increasing everyone's role.
Colson Loveland, Steve. He's come on, the rookie tight end.
Oh, man, it's just been remarkable. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about it because you got to give credit where credit is due, right? Some people say it's fool's gold. Whatever the case may be, I'm buying it. I want it because it's exciting. And this game this week lining up against the Green Bay Packers, man, I'm excited about this game. Here's why. The Packers have the hardest remaining strength of schedule.
Yep.
You know that? You know who's number 3? Who? The Bears.
They're playing each other twice.
Thank you. Right, so that's just telling you how things have shifted and changed. And I'm concerned about this game, not because of the Packers or the Bears. What I'm really concerned about, I don't really think you can say who's going to win because both teams sometimes takes them a whole quarter and a half to show up for the football game.
Why is that?
Filling each other out, I think. Sometimes just trying to be greedy, not taking what the defense gives you, trying to make those explosive splash plays too early and not settled in, not really having an understanding. But these are two different – the crazy part about all of this, right, is when we talk about Caleb Williams, we talk about his splash plays and how he can scramble around. You saw him back in college and you see him now in the league where he scrambles around. He is dangerous when he rolls out of the pocket. But here's something that I've noticed too, that Jordan Love is not as dangerous rolling out of the pocket. Let me tell you, Jordan Love, when he's in the pocket, bro, he's dangerous. Sniper.
He is.
Bro, 12-1. 12-1 at the time. Probably 13-1 right now. At the time, 70% of completions, 12 touchdowns to 1 interception, and a passer rating of 105. Mm-hmm. All right, that's great. But completion out of the pocket, 51%. Mm-hmm. 3-2, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 81 passer rating.
But you know what, Steve?
What?
This is when he turns it on.
Yes.
Week 12 and later, Jordan Love, I was looking at it, since 2023, 11-5. Passer rating higher than any other quarterback from week 12 on from 2023 to now. 29 touchdowns, 1 interception from week 12 on, dating back to 2023. Like, this is when he really starts to play. And you're exactly right. I think this is something, and I was having this conversation with somebody in the league the other day. Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback in this league. Okay. In a lot of people's minds. He is in year 3 of this system. You know this. A lot of
more
times
comfortable
for a quarterback, that's the year you finally get fully comfortable, take ownership of the entire offense.
That's what I was going to say, ownership. When your quarterback can take ownership and he understands exactly how he would like things to go, which means that quarterback gets more comfortable delivering the football on time, he can trust that guys will be in their areas that they need them to be in. And part of why he's come on over the last couple of weeks is they got Christian Watson back because they don't have Jalen Reed. They still are waiting for that. They're waiting for that one wide receiver to step up and say, hey, this is my room. They don't have it yet.
No, you know why?
I think why?
They're going to have to find it now. And that's why I think this game is so interesting, because Tucker Kraft was their best offensive weapon.
I know.
When I talked to people there, it was Tucker Kraft. And you know why? And this is a perfect matchup thing that I wanted to describe. The reason Tucker Kraft has been so valuable to him and their best offensive weapon was because of the way teams play Jordan Love. Love loves to be aggressive, right? He likes to try to take shots. What teams do is they play that deep shell. They try to force him to take the checkdowns, get impatient, turn the football over, make a mistake, i.e. what the Bears like to do. They like to force you into making mistakes and hurting yourself with the amount of turnovers that they force. What he was able to do when he had to take those checkdowns and teams were taking away some of these shots he wants, he goes to Tucker Kraft. And what does Tucker Kraft do? Yards after the catch, man. He was outstanding at it. So who, Steve, in your mind, you think can take up maybe that role a little bit? I know Josh Jacobs out of the backfield can get yards after the catch on these little kind of like, you know,
when they give him the football, when they consistently give him the football, I think one of the tough things with Josh Jacobs over the last couple of years, even over the last couple of weeks, he is a hard-nosed runner, and he loves to have his pads going forward. However, at the wrong times, he gets a little dinged up. And that's problematic, especially for Matt LaFleur, because that's why Aaron Jones was let go, is because the inconsistency of being available. And that offense is so predicated on, even though they don't do it as much as they preach and say, they don't run the ball as much as they should. They stay in pistol, stay in shotgun formation a little bit way too much. And that's why sometimes they have those lull periods where they look
so much better when he's on the field.
Yes.
He's such a better quarterback.
So
he's there. Give him the ball.
It's going to be tough. But the matchup, man, going back and watching how the Packers were able to beat the Lions, it was pretty impressive.
They outlined the Lions, honestly.
They outlined the Lions.
Aggressive on fourth down.
And how they did it, they stacked the line and they focused on making sure they neutralized the run game for the Detroit Lions. They did not allow anybody, none of the two-headed monsters, David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs, the opportunity to have any explosive runs on a consistent basis. Yeah, they squeak something out here and there, but nothing to what we normally are used to seeing out of these backs. And then, unfortunately, my guys, St. Brown goes down. And now that changed everything, because now they just focused on, let me stop the run and let's allow, without St. Brown to being on the field, you got to beat us throwing the football. The Lions and Dan Campbell, they were able to do something, but it was a little bit just too late. They didn't really start to figure out how to get Jameson Williams available and open until the second half, when they started moving him around. And then they started to get a little rhythm. I think they need to focus on that and understand that this is the guy until St. Brown comes back. They're going to have to rely on other guys, and they're going to have to force feed them and make sure that you throw him the football and not look for Jahmyr Gibbs to be the savior in the pass game, and you got these wide receivers running down the field. One, you're paying them. Two, they're on the roster. Three, they're taking up space on the 53, the 46, actually. The 46 that are required to be dressed. So you can't just have these guys running decoy routes. You have to establish and say, hey, I will throw the ball to this guy, that guy, and this guy, and we're not going to waver. If they can do that, that is where, things can really shape themselves into a dogfight with the Packers. If the Packers are able to put their will on the Chicago Bears, which I don't really think they can. I think the Chicago Bears are not going to go quietly.
I agree. I mean, we did a big episode on Jahmyr Gibbs and how explosive he is. He has 68 yards on 20 carries against this Packers defense. This Packers defense right now in 6th in points allowed, 4th in yards per game, 6th versus the pass, 8th versus the run. When I talk to people up there, Steve, it's what's happened now is we're very good up front. I think corner can be a little bit suspect, which I do think they might have to force Caleb into throwing the football a little more. That's what they'd like to do. Mike has been actually far better in the run, I'm told, than they thought he was going to be. The MO, remember him in Dallas, was he's going after sacks. He's not setting the edge. He's doing all that stuff. He spent a bunch of extra time with Jeff Hafley, to my understanding. They've watched a bunch of extra film on how he can attack different teams, how he can be better in the run. They're moving him all over the place. They're good down the middle. So I want to see what this Packers defensive front. Now, they just lost Wicks in that game with the fractured ankle. So can they slow down this run game the way they were able to do it against the Lions last week? That's what I want to see. And they're so good. And DC was telling me this. He's like, I love watching this defense change the picture for the quarterback. They do it really, really late. And oftentimes, and this is the wild part, if you love to go from the gun, defenses like to change right when that snap happens because the quarterback has to do what? They got to look at the ball. So they glance down to look at the ball on the snap. Defense tries to move at that moment to kind of change it. And this is a guy still figuring out his offense in Caleb Williams. I think that chess match with Jeff Hafley, who's coaching his tail off, and might be a head coaching candidate, honestly, this coming cycle. It's going to be interesting to watch. But I think it's fun to see how Jordan Love has been developed by Matt LaFleur over these last several years. I was always told LaFleur's doing the same things that Ben Johnson's doing now. Love's just further advanced. It was, we're not going to make it easy on him. We want him to do more at the line of scrimmage. We want him to have more ownership of this offense. So when we get to year 3, year 4, year 5, he's earning that $55 million paycheck. And I think he did against the Lions, and he can in this game. And so this matchup is unreal. I love the scheme of the way the Bears run the football, and I love the way the Packers have been really good about slowing down the run. Yeah. So does it fall on Caleb Williams' shoulders? Could that be the game we see?
I think it does fall on his shoulders, not to make a big play, but just to make sure that he can take care of the football and minimize the mistakes, because you're playing against a good defense who are going to create some problems for you just naturally because they're a really stout team. Yeah. But the discipline that's going to be required for the edge rushers, because pressure is going to have to come up the middle, and then you have to be disciplined and stay in your lanes and not get caught in the coming inside, and then that all of a sudden leaves a void for Caleb Williams to roll out and throw to somebody down the field that he's just going to throw a dart. So that's the part that can really shape things, and keeping Caleb Williams in the pocket, right? Keeping Jordan Love in the pocket is a problem for you, right? That's cool. A problem. But keeping Caleb Williams inside the pocket, they're like, hey, that air quotes, that benefits us. I believe that Ben Johnson is going to be well prepared for both. But I think, and I'm going to go out on a limb, close my eyes and say it, I think Caleb Williams actually drops back and stays in the pocket a little bit more, just to prove and show that running is not an excuse or a bad habit. Running is part of my arsenal. But I have the ability to sit back and go through progressions, because we've seen them do it, and pick a secondary apart. The way the Green Bay Packers secondary has improved year over year, and the way they were able to slow down. St. Brown wasn't there, you're right, but they don't get to pick who's in the lineup or not. All they do is have to do their job, and the Green Bay Packers defense is doing their job.
They are. They're great down the middle. Linebacker, safety, McKinney, they're really good down the pipeline, and that's been fun. This one, I mean, I'm jacked to watch this now. I can't wait till this game happens, man.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this game too, and I think it's gonna be as good as advertised.